What's going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Zach.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. They say you can't choose your family. Well, you also can't choose which era of music you grew up in. This is a weekly show where we discuss our favorite bands from adolescence and how they continue to shape our lives today. Each week, we'll head back to the early 2000s and take a closer look at the cards we were dealt.
Tom, I am in a Spanish Revival apartment building in Mount Lookout area, the Mount Lookout area of Cincinnati, Ohio. And we've been here for almost 3 full days now.
How's it treating you? You got another 20-some days to go, right?
Yeah, we are in an Airbnb for the next month. Our landlord's in Newport. They stayed true to the lease, I guess would be the most political way to say it. And yeah, we had a month to burn, so we got an Airbnb. And Arlie, my dog, my black lab, border collie mix, a little ball of energy. You'll probably hear her sniffing and snorting and chewing throughout this. Is not super pumped yet. So it's her first dose of apartment life. She used to have a nice yard to roam in before. So we've been taking her on walks and putting poo in bags and living that kind of urban dog care lifestyle. And it's been great, except that it has not been great. So yeah, Jessie's actually not even in town. She's in Greensboro, North Carolina at the moment. Her flight got delayed like crazy, almost to the point that she couldn't even do the interview she flew there to do today. So things are wild. I was in Newport on Monday. Very hot weekend to be moving, but we did it. Jessie was a champ and cleaned the upstairs. I did the downstairs. And I think we left it better than we found it. Looks pretty good. Sold a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Made like a few $100 back on like a couch and a bed and some stuff. And it's kind of actually weirdly nice to find out that like my little clothes rack thing was going to go to this local artist who needed like a portable thing she could display her stuff at. And the bed was going to go to this girl on her birthday. She was going to have a brand new bed. And, you know, these people who got the couch were really thankful and grateful. So that part of it, like you can be, social media has its drawbacks, don't get me wrong, but, you know, you can't also not acknowledge that in a matter of like several hours, I gave these people very specific things they could use at a reasonable price because it was kind of like a mini yard sale, but way more direct. And it was just cool kind of talking to these people and clearing the house out. And in short, in case you couldn't guess, we've been super busy. So yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind and it's not going to let up anytime soon as far as I can tell. And that's why we, I guess, have a bit of an announcement for the show. Is that the direction we're headed? Or should I ask you how you're doing first? Or
yeah, I mean, let's just spill it right now. I mean, we do have an episode planned, but yeah, the two of us are just going to be super busy for the next 2 months. And it took a lot to convince myself that this was the right choice, a proper solution for the problem. We're going to take our first break ever from the show. We haven't missed a week in the over 2.5 years we've been doing this. And I feel a little scared, right? What else am I going to do? This is the only thing I do to like create anymore. But this kind of ties into some of the New Year's resolution stuff we're going to talk about. We just need time. We need more of it. And right now, this is like the only thing either of I could potentially sacrifice to get some more time back in order to get to where we need to go.
Well, you're literally launching your own new business, and we always talk about this. We've probably had this talk 3 times, and the past 2 times we've been like, cool, so we'll just keep doing everything normal like we always do, even though we're both super stressed. It's like, yeah, sure, let's just not change anything. And the writings, you're like, what in my life do I control that is totally something that I have created that could be taken out of my weekly schedule? As I learn to make money on my own for the first time, which is daunting as hell, and only a few people can say that they've gone down that road. You've always mentioned in the past that you didn't want this to be the thing that went. Is that right?
Yeah, because like for the most part, it just didn't make that much sense. Like it's not the biggest time sink in the world. And also like I just am someone who needs to be creating something. And right now, this is all I have. So if I let go of this, is everything just work now? You know, there was some going back and forth on that. But we're taking a break from this because there's something else that I need to create that could really get me set up for the rest of my life. So this has got to go for a little bit, but we're looking at, God, it's the worst time to be taking a break too. Blink-182 just came out with a new song like 2 days ago. The Dangerous Summer just came out with a new album. Taylor Swift is coming out with a new album. So much controversy surrounding her right now. There's so much stuff to talk about.
Let's do a quick mini mailbag. Welcome to the quick mini mailbag. It's the mini mailbag. Yeah. All right. Dear Tom, my name is Alan Anderson from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And I want to know, Pennsylvania. And he wants to know, what do you think of the new Blink track? Is there 2 out? He wants to know the one about the one you texted me about the other day, where he wants to go back in time and feel the good times. Is that the first single? The first Blink song. He's wondering how you feel about the new Blink, whatever's been released so far. Again, this is Alan Anderson from Allentown.
Okay. I hate to say it, but pretty forgettable. I've listened to it maybe 6 times, and I cannot remember a melody or anything.
You know what? I'm going to say that the Simple Creatures stuff that got released a couple months ago hits pretty hard, if I had to say.
Man, that's surprising. Okay. So you're coming around to it.
Yeah, I would say Strange Love and Can't Get Enough of Your Drug. I think the song's called Drug. But yeah, that's been in the rotation for sure. I might even make them my songs of the week. If you're not careful, I'm about to freaking walk on the wild side on your so. But we're trying not to curse because I don't want, again, that was part of it. We were talking like, well, if we don't curse at all and we're really clean and we have everything mapped out and it's like everything that we do every week, like a ton. So it's like, okay, so we could do an episode that isn't an episode we ever do. Anyway, the writing was kind of on the wall. Okay, this second mailbag question comes from Taylor Smith in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I think that's what it's called. She asks, Taylor's been getting in beef. I don't know if I could side with her any longer. Tom, are you a stan? And where are you sitting on all this catalog beef and the new music video riffs?
Ooh, I'm a stan, but I also understand how the music industry works, and very few artists own their masters. And I think the deal that Taylor got was pretty raw, where she has 6 previous albums, so basically it was if she re-signs with Big Machine Records, for every new album she releases, she gets the masters for one of her old ones, starting back from the beginning. So she would have to sign another 6-year deal, which could be upwards of 20 years, in order to get the masters for her old albums back. She thought that was bullshit, which it is, which also goes to show if she can't afford whatever the monetary buyout was to get her masters back, that shows how excruciatingly expensive the ticket price must have been. And I think she made the good move by investing in her future rather than her past. But I do think that the way things are panning out right now, I don't want to use the word immature, but I think it's more of a deal than it needs to be, as most artists do not own the masters of their records. But yes, total stan. What about you?
I don't know if I'm stan status, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Third mail, last piece of mail, comes from Sarah Carter in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And she asks the following. I know, pleasant name and town. Sounds like a Marvel character or something. Agent Carter. No. This person wrote us a very nice letter, as we can all see. Or at least I can, because I'm reading it. We're not filming in the same location, recording, I should say. And she would like to ask a very simple but very important question that goes a little something like this. She is asking, what's the difference between iced coffee? This is a question for the former barista, Tom. What's the difference between iced coffee and cold brew? And what do you say to those who hashtag that cold brew is a lifestyle?
Okay, so iced coffee. Cold brew is iced coffee, but not all iced coffee is cold brew. The 2 methods that I was trained on was the Japanese method and cold brew. And
what's the Japanese method?
So the Japanese method is when you dose out your supplies for your coffee, there is a ratio of water to coffee. And the golden ratio that I stick with is 16.7 times the water than the coffee. So what I do, I call it the devil's brew. When I make my pour over every morning, I weigh out 40 grams of coffee, and then 16.7 times that is 666 grams of water. So with the Japanese method, if you were making iced coffee rather than hot, what you would do is you would keep those 40 grams of ground coffee, and then you would put 333 grams of ice into your vessel that you'll be pouring the water into, and then you pour 333 grams of hot water into the 40 grams of coffee. So basically what you're getting is doubly strong coffee that is then diluted by the ice, which makes up the other half of your coffee content. So that's one method that's Japanese. Cold brew is usually you're making a ton of it at a time. We used to make 5 gallons at a time. So we would ground 5 pounds of coffee at a time, put it in this huge plastic filter, and then put that in a nylon bag. And then we would put that in 5 gallons of cold water. And then you steep it in the fridge for 24 hours. And what you're left with is essentially a concentrate that is 4-to-1, I believe. So then you put, 1 part of the concentrate, 3 parts of water, and that's a cold brew. And it's much smoother. It's totally different than the Japanese method. It goes down totally differently. It's a much longer process. It's a much more difficult process, but it's made for batches.
Do you have a preference?
I didn't like cold brew at first because to me it seemed too almost too smooth. It didn't have much punch to it. But after I switched coffee shops, I was managing a place in DC. We made cold brew. After working there for a year and a half, it feels hard to go back to the Japanese method of iced coffee.
Because they sell both in bulk at even a Kroger, which to me was interesting. You can just buy iced coffee, which to me is the ultimate laziness. It's a gallon of milk or something. They're just a jug of it. I was
Right.
pretty shocked. Cold brew makes more sense because it sounds like there's more care. Am I right? You just explained it really well, and I could just be butchering this, but it seems like cold brew would be the thing you would want more of. And iced coffee is just why don't you just brew some coffee, you dill hole?
Well, and again, it's all iced coffee. It's different methods of making it. On the user end, it's just preference. And usually people stick to whatever they started drinking first is kind of the way it goes.
What would you say to me when I want it cooled down, I just fill a glass to the top with ice and pour regular hot coffee over it and drink it before it melts too much of the ice?
That's just watered down cold hot coffee.
Cool. Glad we covered that. Moving on.
But
okay.
let me say this.
Oh.
If you brew your pot of coffee twice as strong and then you pour that over ice, that's kind of a back alley way of making a proper Japanese style iced coffee.
The underground.
Yeah.
Me Reiki the undie. I don't know what that was. So we're just going to move on and say this. We are busy boys, right? I think there's an episode title. It's one of our more listened to episodes. I don't even know what we talk about during it. But any final closing thoughts on the fact that we are going to take a little summertime sadness vibe going here moving forward?
Well, we'll definitely dive deeper into that. Did you want to, before we get into that, segue nicely into our... I have nothing to say about things that were previously said, but should we segue into our New Year's resolutions follow-up, since we are 6 months into the year, and a lot of stuff in this goes nicely.
Is it detrimental that I don't know what they were anymore?
Oh, okay. Well, we can go through mine.
Okay.
All right. I had a lot of them here.
I could probably pull them up on the podcast app, right? Or were they in the show notes?
They weren't. I don't have a doc. I had mine in an Apple Note. So
interesting. I don't remember doing a New Year's one this year.
Zach was here with us, I believe.
Whoa.
And we all talked about some stuff. I think you just kind of derailed the whole episode as I talked about my my stuff. So maybe that's why we don't remember. because it wasn't very
My New Year's
structured.
resolution halfway through the year is to not derail anymore.
Okay. Well, let me blast through
Can we just
mine.
start there?
Sure. Let me blast through mine because I'm not going to lie, I feel pretty good about it. So my first one was to have more of my own clients than other people's clients. That is still in the process, which is fine. Wanted to make $100,000 and save $10,000. I'm sorry to say that I don't have much in savings because I have had a lot of traveling coming up, yada yada. Make $100,000. Unless something dramatically changes in the second half, I'm not going to reach that, but I'll tell you what, I am so much closer than I actually thought was possible at the time of writing this down, since considering I was only making about $30,000 a year at the time. So the next one, make online courses. The reason why we are taking such a big break from the show is because...
This is the big one, right? This is like the main project that you've been working on, I should say.
Right. So I'm going to be developing e-courses, info courses, whatever, for podcast production, audio production in podcasting. And I need like a solid 2 to 3 months to blast out like 24 hours of video training content. So I feel really good about this one. This is the biggest thing that I had in here. And my business coach was saying, like, these online courses are going to be the most important thing to your business. Focus on these more than anything else right now. Everything else is back burner to the courses. So that's what we're trying to do with the break. And we'll come back to some of my concerns about that. But I'm excited to be doing that one. I'm not going to launch my beard company this year because I'm busy with the courses. I had visit my sister once, my dad once, and you guys twice. Now, I've seen my sister twice this year, which is great. I saw my dad recently with our reunion, and I saw you and Zach only once this year, correct? So we'll have to...
It was a nice long weekend, though.
It was a very nice long weekend, so I'm halfway there. Wanted to 10x the number. Yes.
You took some good photos. I think you look sharp.
I still got to do that video. My God, I've been so busy. I just got back from California like yesterday, and I have second-degree sunburns on my shoulders, of course.
But also, I'm glad you said you're busy because it's true, and that's the reason we're doing the hiatus. So,
right.
Yeah, it's true.
I wanted to 10x the number of listeners of Reminiscent. Didn't have time for that. Sorry. Wanted to publish Ron Carnage, which we did. Now, we're a little short on the goal of selling 10,000 copies, but we did sell at least 10, so that's good. I did go to the dentist. There was nothing to fix, which was better news than I thought. I haven't been in 10 years, and I only brush my teeth once a day. And the dentist said my teeth looked perfect. Wanted to start paying all my student loans, and I'm happy to announce that I am now paying all like 16 or something of my student loans. They're getting a ton of money thrown at them every month because I want them gone in 4 years rather than the 16.
Oh, can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
I believe one of mine, if not at the time, has been actually one of mine, is to pay mine completely off this year.
Wow.
So I am within striking distance. It's going to take, we're looking at going to a new city, so it's going to be a job change at some point, but if that were to take place, and we got a little aggressive, but yeah, no, we've been hanging low and saving, and I could just take my next paycheck and chuck it at it, and it would go away, but then I wouldn't have money for groceries. So
wow, damn, dude.
But yeah, I'm like a paycheck away. So
holy f***.
Or at least I'm a tax return away, I should say. So if I don't get it to this calendar year, I can get it next tax season. But I'd like to just really chip at it, and we haven't. We've been really trying to plan and save and maneuver around. I wanted to get rid of it before we moved, just in case, but. Things happen. But anyway, that is definitely my goal. So don't get me wrong. Mine, I was lucky. My parents helped a good amount, but I've been chipping away since like 2013 on what was there for me. And it's a good feeling to get this close, I should say.
Nice, man. I think I still owe like 110,000. And with my interest rates, it just goes up excruciatingly high every month. So I'm trying to put like $2,000 to $2,500 a month at my student loans to get them paid off in 4 years, which is so depressing, but I just got to get it over with. They've already doubled since I graduated, and I've already paid $20,000 towards my loans, and they've doubled. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. So I just got to get it over with. I have 3 more things here. I wanted to work with CGP Grey and or Brady. I reached out to Brady after meeting them in Huntsville, and he said he didn't really
And
have...
who are they for those
Oh, yeah,
listeners who don't know?
sorry. They're the hosts. Well, they're YouTubers, educational YouTubers. They're the hosts of the Hello Internet podcast, my favorite podcast of all time. And it's like my life's mission to work with Grey, because listening to his episodes of the Cortex Podcast and Hello Internet podcast, like, pretty much defined who I am now. So I just want to work with my hero pretty much. Second to last thing here, I wanted to lose 15 pounds. I was intermittent fasting the month before our reunion, and I think I lost 6. And I was feeling great. I was doing really good. I still would like to lose another 15 though, for 21 pounds total. The last thing here I'm finding more important every single day was to make friends, because I went so long just wanting to build a business, and now that it's like steadily growing every month, I can just kind of like not dump every spare minute I have into it. My buddy Sky, who was actually my teacher at the boxing gym, one of the trainers, we've been hanging out a bit. We saw Toy Story 4 together the other day.
Give me a 2-sentence review of the movie.
Oh, you know what? I don't even like to say if something was good or bad, because I think that's a spoiler. But I will say, go see it. You can infer whatever you want there.
Just 2 sentences. Just give me 2 sentences.
2 sentences. Brought up a lot of childhood nightmares, and I would definitely go see it again.
Ooh.
We'll say that. But he's coming over tonight for a bonfire. Super nice guy. He was the only person that came out to support me during the local author happy hour when I was representing Aaron Matthews and Ron Carnage at our local bookstore. And he's just a really nice dude. So
We should do a quick bonus 10 minutes about the Ron Carnage universe.
well, we'll do Pod Carnage for that one. The other podcast we haven't done in 9 months. But yeah, so that's my list. I'm honestly feeling, I thought it was a very ambitious list at the time, and now I'm feeling like, well, that was easy, kind of. So might need to reevaluate and make those goals a little bit harder to accomplish.
The show is the way I view it is I'm interrupting your diary entries, basically. That's how I felt from day one. Megan's been out of town for a touch, a
2
bit
weeks.
as coach, and you've had some time to watch some TV, play some video games, ride your bike, do some things. You started this business, and you have clients that pay you for the work you do, which is the foundation of any business. Are you finding that you're learning how to use your time? Because when we talked on the road trip episode a bit, we tried to do a real episode for like 4 minutes where you talked about your daily schedule, and then that devolved into Zach just munching ASMR Lay's potato chips into the microphone, which was fine and super fun. But I was going to ask you, like, you've had a couple weeks living alone is a gut check moment. Like, that was my first year in New Mexico. It was definitely, you learned some stuff. Where are you at in terms of mental health? Like, as we head into this break, are you learning a little more about, because before it was kind of like you were a big Instagram guy, maybe like 4 years ago, you became a vlogger a little more recently. Like, are you learning about what you like to do throughout the day? You say you've been reading more. Not that you have to read to be cool or like be fulfilled, but what have you learned in the last 2 weeks with Megan gone, where it's just you and yourself, or heading into a break, you're kind of prioritizing your stuff? Like, where are you at? Like, where's your head at?
I learned that when she's out of town, I'm a useless pile of trash for the most part.
Cool. Glad we settled that. See you next week, everybody. This is Reminiscent. No, just kidding. Useless pile of trash. You told me you've been like reading like 4 books every hour.
So I read 6 books in the past 8 weeks, which is, I would love for a new New Year's goal to be read a book a week. That would be incredible. I'm really falling in love with reading novels. I've been just doing the business books for like the past 4 years. So this is nice. It's
interesting. I got into it. Sorry, I broke my New Year's resolution already. But I got into audiobooks for a minute, and I'm realizing if it's or if it's like a memoir, to me it's just like a podcast with no host, and I can listen to it. I can burn through those. I went through like Norm Macdonald, David Spade, Rachel Dratch, just like boom, boom, boom. But if it's like a story, I can't sit there and listen to it. I can't do that for an audiobook. So I've learned that about myself. So I got to go back to reading like actual books. I thought in an audiobook, I thought those were going to be like a cheat to reading, basically, the Overdrive app where you can put in your library card and get access to a ton of files. But have you ever dabbled with audiobooks or anything like that? Or did you enjoy the turning of the page and all that?
I mean, I have an Audible subscription with like probably 70 or 80 books in there at this point. My problem is my job is to just listen to stuff with headphones on all day. So it's getting to the point where like I don't want to do it in my free time. But when I was working at the wood shop, I consumed anything I could on audiobook. But I always did have a harder time with fiction. Except for right when I started out, I like doing the more businessy stuff in audiobook. For some reason, I usually buy the physical one to turn the page with it. But I do like audiobooks. It's just been hard because, like, you know, you don't really want to do your job or something that reminds you of it in your free time, which unfortunately I don't listen to podcasts as much as I used to. So that's kind of a bummer. But
well, for me, it's tracking social media and all that stuff. So when I get home, the last thing I want to do is like, had a super chill weekend in Erie, PA with my boys, you know, like
right.
Like tracking the reach of my own personal post is like literally what I get paid to do. So it's like, I'm burnt out. I'm good. The people who have my number have it and they can get in touch with me if they need to type stuff.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like you're in a good place.
Well, yeah. I mean, just with Megan gone, my schedule goes to shit pretty much. I feel like just her presence like inspires me to like be better, which I think is probably what you want in a partner, right? But like she was in Sweden for almost 2 weeks and she was like without Wi-Fi, so we hardly talked. I would maybe text her for 3 minutes a day. And I don't feel that separation anxiety or depression that like I used to. But I just have a really hard time waking up at 7:30, getting right to work, limiting TV time. I'm just not as productive, I think, is probably the best way to put it. But I have been reading a lot more. And I think that's because we usually spend our nights talking or watching TV. And since I don't have that, I've been reading like 3 hours every night, which has allowed me to blast through some books. So that's maybe like the only advantage, I guess, but I still wouldn't trade that for how productive I am when she's around and just like the fact that I get to see my wife, who I'm obviously very in love with. Yeah, I'm ready for her to come back. She'll be back Saturday night, which is 3 days from now.
So other than the long-term project you were talking about, the courses, is that going to take up most of your time into this hiatus, which we plan to come back in September? That was the loose, soft relaunch date. Can you talk a little bit about how you view the next few months?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my biggest concern is that you've suggested it in the past to take a break. And I've always been like, no, why would I?
Yeah, because you've mentioned several times that you're dying. Like, you know, it came from a place of, oh, well, don't be deceased. You know, like it's come up a bunch where you're working yourself into the ground because I don't think you are a workaholic, but I do think that when you're sitting still, you're not comfortable. You've mentioned that on the pod before. So you always say like work through it, pump it out, but like, dude, you know, like read a book or take a nap, like smell the roses, I think is the phrase, right? Take a moment.
Right. I mean, I think that I usually try to make decisions very unemotionally, which makes it harder to make decisions when you're just trying to analyze every bit of it. But I think what's kind of come up in the past 2 months for the show is it has felt exponentially more like work than it used to.
Do you feel like it's felt more like work ever since we hit episode 100 and started doing exclusively music? And part B, question 2, subsection X, whatever you want to say. Do you think the fans that were with us, because, I mean, there are dozens of listeners. I know you say we didn't reach 10,000. I think that's no secret, but there's a shocking number of people that do sit here and listen to this. So to those people, would you say that like the people that were there with us while we were duking it out when I was in the closet in my Cleveland apartment doing business with Jesse, getting pretty drunk on Yinglings, and having people stop me on the street as I walked for drunk cigs at the local corner store, just like, you know, you're crossing a road into a, you know, it's like, I'm good, man. It's like, all right, just be safe. It's like, okay. Just like ugly times. So we've like really bare-knuckled, like white-knuckled our way out of 2 weddings, a few moves.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, I guess I got lost reminiscing about, oh yeah, so what do you say to the fans that are into the music part of what we do, and what do you say to the fans that were with us from day one that just enjoy, I guess what the show was? I guess we have bits. I guess we do things. I guess it is somewhat of a radio program before we did the music stuff. What do you think was the best version of the show, I guess? Now I'm rambling, and that's like 4 questions, but I just want your thoughts on it all. Tell me, boy, I want it all.
Yeah, I do think about what the show was for the first 99 episodes and like if people who were around for that like what we're doing now. And I think the original plan was to not talk about music, but to talk about how music affected our lives, to kind of tie the two things together. And I guess what I've been struggling with is...
I guess we focused on each side of that a little at first and a little later. Like we did a shift, but it is kind of the same show, kind of, just more Wikipedia info. I don't know.
Well, and that's kind of, I guess, what made it seem more like work is there has to be like some research involved, but we've been more just for the sake of like getting it over with because the show is a lot of work, like doing a presentation rather than just like discussing something. And like I think of the Stacy's Mom episode, which Zach was around for. We talked about the music video,
really fun,
about stories that we heard, and then we just kind of like joked about the music video, which to me is the best version of the show. And lately it hasn't felt like that. It's felt more like a research project, and that's not really what I wanted this show to be, but I just think we've been in a rut because we haven't had time to dedicate to it. So we're stressing ourselves out more, enjoying it less, and presenting a worse version of the show. And we can just keep doing that to not take a week off. But I feel like, we were discussing, like, is there something we can do just to, like, get through the 2 months, something super easy, low effort? And to me, that felt like kind of disrespectful to people listening. Like, I feel better about taking a little bit of time off for ourselves rather than, like, putting in 5% effort and just throwing shit out into the world that doesn't need to be there. Like, I felt it was more honorable to just, like, truly take time off and put effort in when we have the time for it.
I was in the opposite camp. I had proposed, and I guess I had proposed where we took a 6-week hiatus. You, me, and Zach were responsible for 2 half-an-hour segments of audio where we were allowed to be as creative as we wanted, whether we talked with our wives for one of the episodes, like a mock episode with our wives, or just talked a solo mailbag out to ourselves and worked some stuff through, or really talked about a band or a song where one of us finally said something about the f***ing Strokes, I guess. I don't know. But a little Strokes humor for the people who have been around for a while. To me, it was an opportunity to get creative while we kind of worked through some stuff and maybe be honest with the fans about what that was about. To me, it was a chance to, like, do something and keep it easy on ourselves, but then maybe we drift away from the normal format anyway. So how do you really handle the fact that we're both going through huge life changes at the moment without, admitting to the people who do listen to the show that, we're just dudes with jobs that, do this for fun, but sometimes it's an actual burden when your dog has to take a poo and, you have to keep quiet in your apartment or kind of politely ask your wife to watch her show on low in the other room or whatever. It's just kind of like, we're people with houses just kind of chilling, and it's not a tall order, but over time when some weeks are stressful, some weeks aren't, but this seemed like a nice way to kind of reevaluate.
Well, the thing about that plan is like that doesn't save me any time at all, because
right.
I still,
because you do edit.
I edit
everything.
the show. I do the website stuff, all the publishing. And you said, like, what if we just don't do the website stuff? I was like, well, then that's even less effort. And like, I don't feel good about that then. I'd rather do nothing than something I don't feel good about. But one of my biggest concerns was losing our Google ranking because our website's pretty active and it ranks incredibly high, like front page of Google on like 60 different search results. And I was worried about inactivity and losing those rankings and also like losing people's interest over a long break. Because I know a show that I used to listen to every single week, I mean, religiously, I lived for this show. They took a month off and then switched to every other week. And I just stopped listening because I fell out of the routine of it and something else filled that time. So I guess I was worried about that. But also, like, we're doing this for ourselves. You know, our friends listen and we've made friends from them listening and stuff. But really it comes down to like what we really desperately need right now, and that's a little bit of time. But we don't want to leave people totally just silent. So I want to get on Twitter a little more, talk to people, and write some articles for the website to keep it active, to still have something out there, but something that doesn't take 5 hours of my life every week, because those 5 hours that I get back every single week over 8 weeks, that could just be the course right there. That could be everything done. And it's a lot of money to be made from that. So that's kind of, if I get the courses out and they're making quote unquote passive income or like front loaded work, you know, income, I can probably make the salary I'm making now on that while not working anymore. So if I can just get it over with, then I can dedicate more time to the show to make a better show while working less, be less stressed about money. It's just like, you know, it's like a small investment of time now that I think will pay off later. I guess I was worried about us falling out of the routine and the show just like not happening anymore, because I was really strict on the like something new needs to be out every week. But Taylor Swift's album is coming out the week before, like the last week in August. So I would love to jump back in first week of September and hit it hard like we were previously, but obviously a much better version of that.
Here's my first pitch. I would just want to write an article with the headline says that Evanescence's co-founder's name is whatever that perfect emo name was. I forget what it was, but one of those AV Club style headlines were like, this is something you need to be aware of. Just pump out like 7 of those super easy type things, comb back through.
I'm totally down for that, man. I just want there to be something, because, you know, I take pride in this whole project and everything that it encompasses. The social media efforts, the website, I think is great. It's beautiful. It's doing a great job. We get a lot of traffic every month from search, especially most of it's from search at this point, which is incredible. I don't want to lose that. And we both worked incredibly hard to build that. So I don't want it to go to waste, I guess. But I do feel self-conscious about it, though, for sure. I've wrestled with it a lot in my head, and I feel like I'm giving up, kind of, but like I think it's just necessary. Like, putting emotions aside, it's necessary right now.
Well, you've been driving yourself nuts. Also, the name is Ben Moody, which is so
Ben
freaking
Moody.
Incredible. Oh, God. You been moody? I have been moody.
Let's do it.
It's going to be a 3-sentence article.
And I'll probably still spend an hour formatting it. So, like,
you do what you got to do.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. We hope that people will stick with us through it and understand. And, you know, we apologize.
Well, subscribe, right? We never ask people to smash that subscribe button. Break your fucking bone. Sorry for cursing, but that's what we usually say anyway. But yeah, I mean, hit the subscribe button, and then when we come back, it'll pop up into your thing. And if we come back with a good one, maybe you'll like it and give it a spin.
Yeah, and, you know, I might pop in every now and then if there's something important that needs to be said. Just put out a quick little thing here and there. But my concern is that I'm going to take 2 months off and then not finish the course, and then just basically not put out Reminiscent, but also not do what I'm setting the time aside to do. So like, I'm going to have to find a way to get real strict about that, because there is a part of me that's really scared to start developing a course, because that imposter syndrome comes in. Like, who am I to be teaching? But I've done tutorials in the past, and people have like quite literally been begging me for more. So why not do it? I mean, I just got more commission that came in today from a video I put out, got some affiliate commission from that. Like, I woke up to it this morning, and that was only like $8. So if I make this course and we're selling it for $1,500, can you imagine just waking up and making that money in your sleep? Like, that's the American dream. So, or the new one anyway. So that's kind of what I'm going after. I would like to make more passive income so I can create more, because I've been like really wanting to make music. I want to start another podcast. We're writing the second novel, To Ron, To Carnage right now. There's a lot that I want to do, but I don't really have the time. So I need to front load a ton of work, get it all done, make some passive income so I can just kind of sit back and enjoy the things I'm creating more. Because right now...
And let the money pile up, as it were.
Right. So right now it feels like I'm not really creating anything. And when I am, I feel guilty that I'm not doing other work. So when I am creating, I'm not even enjoying it. It's just like, it feels like even though I'm making pretty good money, I'm losing from every angle. So hopefully this will kind of reset everything and we'll come out of it doing much better. That's the goal anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Smoke them if you got them.
I mean, you have anything to say about all of it, or thoughts, emotions?
I think I've been, like, you sent me a mic one day and 3 years have gone by and you seem very stressed and you're my friend. So I say stop killing my friend through stress. So I don't know. To me, it's pretty simple. Like, we're not friends if we don't talk while recording us talking, so to me, it's a pretty simple thing. And, creatively, we disagree on a lot in terms of like the solo episodes and some of the experimental stuff to fill in those 6 weeks or whatever. So it's like, who cares? I don't know. Why ruin us being, like, just stop for a little while. It's fine. People who like us will stick around. They'll smash that subscribe button, as it were. And, and the life goes on. I'll still talk to you a lot, and we'll still be buds. And, the world won't hear our takes on Paramore. It's a shame, really. But people were Googling Paramore at work the other day. It made me laugh so f***ing hard. They were like, wait, it's like a lover who is like not your wife? And like, no, it's an early 2000s emo pop rock band. It was just like, oh no, yeah, you probably heard one of their songs. Just hearing a bunch of middle-aged, I guess I'm technically close to, if not already, a middle-aged white person.
Wow.
Just hearing them just try to sort through who was willing to admit they had heard a Paramore song before was like the juiciest slice of pie I've ever had in my life. Like, in terms of social things I got to eavesdrop on. Just like, yes. Who's going to say they've heard Set Crush as their ringtone during college? One of you bitches did it. I know it for a damn fact. Sorry for cursing so much, but it's just how I feel. I feel good about it because will make your mental health better, it seems like. Like, there's no reason to work yourself into the ground over something the one thing you're doing that won't potentially make you money. So,
right.
It's, to me, because you sent me the mic, we have fun, that's it. And if it's not fun and you are stressed, then why do it? So we're going to figure some stuff out and maybe come out with some other episodes during even, right? I mean, we might get bored. Maybe my wife's interviewing for a job as we speak, and like, things are just in flux. But if things go well, we might come back sooner. We don't want to not do it, but we do want to work out a system where it's on a day we both like, during the hours that are easiest, during this and that. Like, those discussions happen behind the scenes, but that's all. I don't have much to say, really, other than if you're not all right, then why? Life's short. Don't kill yourself over something that seems frivolous to me, because as far as I can tell, other than some Twitter interactions, it's you and me hanging out, which would happen anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically how my relationship with Hannah, my first love, ended. We decided we'll do it till it's not fun anymore, and then when it wasn't fun anymore, we stopped. So if I could do it then...
you know what? We should write an article about the Hannah episode. We put it on Medium. People would eat that shit up. It's like a daytime soap opera.
Out of nowhere, she is always the number one in this list of people you should become Facebook friends with. So every day I see her face.
Yo, do not test the algorithm. The algorithm will come for you. So. I plugged in the Alexa today to try to ask her a question. She was like, I need the internet password. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like having this password. Like, not today. Maybe in a bit. And then we found out right before the episode that I had to record through my phone or whatever, because I actually don't have it. So it's actually not even a vindictive thing. It's just like, sorry, Alexa, I just am a dumb So my wife has it, and we'll figure it out as we go. Did you want to wrap this one up and try to record some bonus stuff for RC and things like that?
I totally do not have time for that today, unfortunately. John.
I guess in the spirit of going into our cocoons of rehabilitation, I don't have a song of the week, unfortunately.
You don't?
No. There's a lot of new music out. Chance is coming out with an album in July.
Okay.
So I'll probably keep track of that. Charlie Bliss has been it's a good album. They're my new favorite band, for real. Like, it's rare that you run into something like that. I thought it was going to be the Born Ruffians for a second. I thought it was going to be Tokyo Police Club for a second. But they all kind of filtered, kind of like went by the wayside. And Charlie Bliss was just like, let's rock hard as all the time and come out with a great album every like year and a half. It's like, cool, works for me. I'll love all of them. So it's cool when it's like you realize you're like walking like, man, I like 3 of their albums. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I guess I'm a fan. So yeah, my song of the week is admitting after telling you to listen to them for half my song recommendations is that turns out, Tom, that I'm a fan of the band Charlie Bliss. Okay. But like a real fan.
Well, in addition to the reading, I've been discovering a lot of new music through a couple different sources, I guess. Doing some research on more chill wave on YouTube. I've come across some good stuff. But also, I watched 6 seasons of Letterkenny while Megan was gone. And their music is actually super good. Like, they usually end an episode on like a song I've never heard that's super good. Watched an episode last night that featured the song Fineshrine by Purity Ring. I know I've heard their name before, but I've never listened to them. When I texted you, I said, do you f*** with Purity Ring? And you said the Jonas Brothers. Which I thought was hilarious, but they do a lot of like really cool electronic music at the end of their episodes, and there's just been so many that I'm a fan of. Been listening to that a lot right now. A lot of other stuff too. Like I said, I have to dive into the Dangerous Summer's new album. Blink-182 put out a new song. Taylor Swift put out a new song recently and a new album in about 6 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to listen to over the next 2 months, but that's what we'll leave you with now. And any closing thoughts, questions about the next couple weeks?
Yeah, if you like the show at all, go to Amazon and buy the ebook for $2 of Ron Carnage, Think a Boy. It's a good $2. It's silly. If you get past chapter 11, because it's a pun, the whole chapter's a pun and ruins the whole thing. So
which I didn't get until like 2 weeks ago when he told me.
It's it's $2 worth of some entertainment. So do it or don't. It doesn't bother us. But thanks for listening. If you're listening, that's great.
Well, let me say that the paperback is a much better experience. I put no effort into the ebook, and I apologize. So,
I mean, you do get the cover that we designed ourselves on MS Paint, which is truly a nice touch.
And for the next few weeks, I mean, we'll be on Twitter, so maybe more active than we used to be. I'll reinstall the app on my phone. So, maybe we can take suggestions for episodes when we come back, or we can just chat in general at _reminiscent FM. You'll get all you need there. And any outlier slow weeks, maybe we'll pop in and say hey and do something fun. So you don't totally forget about us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bittersweet moment for sure. It's going to be 2 months of probably you and I still talking, but there won't be a show necessarily. So
yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you in about 5 seconds. But
yeah,
got a lot of work to do, and hopefully we'll just come back. We'll come out of this better people, maybe in different states. I mean, it's gonna be exciting, and we'll.
Yeah, no. When you were like, "Hey, things are busy," I'm like, "Yeah, same." So it's just like, "Yeah, let's take a break." So
we'll post some updates on Twitter.
It sucks.
So.
Yeah, I would be not shocked if Tom recorded mini episodes solo for the next 8 weeks just to make sure we didn't miss a week, but we'll see. Put your money down now. If you got a bookie, let it down. The over-under is that, yes, it will happen, which is not the definition of an over-under, but I'm not a betting man, so who's to say? But yeah, I love you, man, and we'll probably review the Taylor Swift album, I would say, and that's coming in a couple weeks, so it's not even that far down the road.
All right, man. Love you too. I'll talk to you later.
Hello.
Bye. All right, everyone. Thanks for being there for us. Very sorry we're going to have to take a little bit of time off, but it's just kind of what has to happen right now. We hope you understand. We are going to miss you, though, so hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscent FM. Be nice to keep in touch and talk while we're both slowly dying with all the work and the moving and new jobs that we'll be doing in the meantime. So hope you had a good 4th of July. For all you Canadians out there, we're jealous, and we love you all. We'll talk to you in a couple months. See ya.